Okay, ever feel like you're just totally drowning in to-dos? Like, seriously, last week, I swear my to-do list was longer than a CVS receipt.
Uh-huh.
That's a problem. So that's why we're going to do a deep dive today into 4 books all about productivity.
Sounds good.
We've got The Art of Laziness,
Okay.
Dupe Work,
Yes.
Do It Today,
Mm,
and Finish. You ready to kind of unlock some serious productivity power here?
I think so, yeah. I'm excited. These books offer some really intriguing strategies for getting things done and maybe even enjoying the process a little bit more.
Yeah, I like that. So, okay, let's jump right in. Let's start with Cal Newport's Deep Work. Um, he basically argues that the ability to just really focus deeply is becoming like more and more rare,
Yes.
which kind of makes it a superpower in our world.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's a superpower. I mean, in Newport, he defines deep work as that ability to focus without distraction on a cognitively demanding task.
Right.
So you can think about it like this. It's the difference between passively scrolling through social media and then actively creating something new.
Yeah. And he gives some pretty fascinating examples to illustrate this point.
He does, yeah. One of them is Carl Jung. He was a renowned psychiatrist. And to focus on his writing, he built this secluded tower
Wow.
just to escape distractions. And so he understood that to produce groundbreaking work, you need to create a space that's free from the mental clutter of everyday life.
Oh my gosh. Building a whole tower, that's commitment.
Right.
But I guess the takeaway there is that, like, we can all benefit from creating some kind of space. Maybe not a tower, but like a deep workspace, even if it's just a corner of our house or something.
Totally. It doesn't have to be that extreme, but it has to be intentional.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got this concept of deep work.
Yeah.
What else does Newport suggest for making the most of our focus?
Well, he talks about rituals,
Okay.
especially like a shutdown ritual
Oh, interesting.
at the end of the workday.
So it's kind of like a mental power down button.
Yeah, exactly. It helps overcome that Zeigarnik effect, which is that nagging feeling of unfinished tasks lingering in our minds.
Oof. Yes. I know that feeling well.
Yeah, and a shutdown ritual, it can be super simple, like review your to-do list, make a plan for tomorrow,
Okay.
and then use a phrase like shutdown complete to signal to your brain it's time to switch gears.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
So you're like intentionally telling your brain, like, we're done with work now.
Yeah.
It's time to relax. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I could see how that would be super helpful for preventing work stress from like spilling into your evening.
Definitely.
Kind of like drawing that line in the sand.
Exactly. Yeah, and that mental separation can be really powerful. It helps you improve focus and well-being.
Yeah. Now, Darius Farrow, in his book, Do It Today, he takes a little bit of a different approach.
Yeah, he does.
He's all about scheduling, like
Yeah.
down to the minute scheduling.
Yes, he suggests scheduling every minute of your day. Not to be super rigid about it, but to be intentional with your time.
Okay.
He argues that most people drastically underestimate how much time they spend on things like watching TV or browsing the internet.
Yeah, it's like that saying, time flies when you're having fun.
Right.
Except maybe in this case, it's more like time flies when you're just mindlessly scrolling.
Exactly. And by tracking your time, you become more aware of where it's going, and then you can make adjustments to align your actions with your priorities.
Yeah. It's all about taking control of your time
Right.
rather than letting it control you.
Exactly.
And he offers some good advice for how to actually do that.
He does, yeah. He talks about breaking your day into 30-minute blocks,
Oh.
categorizing tasks as either deep work or shallow work.
Okay, so deep work is like that focused, high-value work we were talking about earlier.
Yes.
What about shallow work? What falls into that category?
Shallow work is the stuff that tends to fill up our days but doesn't necessarily move us closer to our goals.
Got it.
So things like responding to emails, attending unnecessary meetings, or doing mindless tasks that don't require much mental effort.
Right, so it's like the busy work,
Yeah, exactly.
but it's not really moving you forward.
Right.
Okay, so the goal then is to minimize the shallow work and create more space for the deep work.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
It does. And scheduling can be a powerful tool to make that happen.
All right. Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about C. Northcote Parkinson's book.
Yes.
This one is called The Art of Laziness.
Yes.
This one sounds a little counterintuitive.
Yes.
Are we really advocating for laziness here?
Not exactly.
Okay, good. Because I was like, wait a minute.
Parkinson's approach is more about strategic laziness.
Okay.
Or what you might call intentional inefficiency.
Intentional inefficiency.
Yeah.
Okay, what does that even mean?
Okay, so his famous Parkinson's law states that work expands to fill the time available for its completion.
Okay.
So if you give yourself a week to complete a task that could realistically be done in a day, you'll likely find ways to stretch it out to fill that entire week.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that happening.
Yeah.
Like, you start getting bogged down in the details, and then you
Mhm.
find yourself procrastinating because you're like, oh, I have so much time.
Right. Exactly. So his advice is to set aggressive deadlines.
Okay.
By limiting the time you have, you force yourself to focus on the essentials and eliminate the non-essentials.
So it's kind of like that saying, if you want something done, ask a busy person,
Yeah,
because they're forced to be efficient with their time.
exactly. And this concept of strategic laziness, it ties in nicely with what Newport talks about in deep work.
Okay.
Like that idea of maximizing your output in a limited amount of time.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So it's not about being lazy in the traditional sense, but rather about being strategic
Exactly.
with your time and energy to maximize your productivity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's about working smarter, not harder.
Right.
And that brings us to another key concept from deep work, the idea of the grand gesture.
Okay, the grand gesture.
Yeah,
This sounds kind of dramatic.
it is a little bit.
What's that all about?
It's about making like a deliberate effort,
Okay.
even out of the ordinary effort to create an environment that's good for deep work. So Newport uses the example of Bill Gates.
Ah,
He famously takes think weeks where he isolates himself
wow.
just to focus solely on reading and thinking.
Okay, so like going full hermit mode.
Right.
That's probably not feasible for most people,
Probably not.
but I guess the idea is we can all benefit from some type of deep work ritual.
Totally.
Even if it's just like going to a coffee shop without your phone for
Yeah,
a couple hours.
exactly. It's about signaling to your brain that it's time to focus.
Right.
And sometimes a change of scenery or a break from your routine can be just the thing to spark that focus.
So it's not about being grand, but just intentional.
Precisely.
Okay.
Now, shifting gears to another challenge many people face,
Okay.
finishing projects.
Ugh, yes.
That's where John Acuff's book, Finish, comes in.
Okay, finish. This one's for me. I have a whole folder of half-finished projects
Oh, yeah.
on my computer.
I feel that.
Why is it so hard to just get things done?
Well, Acuff argues one of the biggest obstacles is perfectionism.
Oh, okay.
He calls it the day after perfect trap.
Interesting.
That tendency to get so caught up in trying to make something perfect that we end up delaying and procrastinating.
Oh, I know that trap well.
You keep tweaking and refining, and then suddenly months have gone by and you've made zero progress.
Ugh, yeah, it's so true.
So he suggests a counterintuitive approach.
Okay.
Cut your goals in half.
Wait, seriously.
Yeah.
Just aim for half of what we initially intended.
It sounds crazy, but it's about setting realistic expectations and focusing on progress over perfection.
Okay.
By aiming for a smaller goal, you're more likely to actually achieve it, which builds momentum and motivation to keep going.
Oh, okay. So it's like you're tricking your brain into getting started.
Yeah, kind of.
And once you start seeing the progress, then it becomes easier.
Exactly. It's about breaking down those mental barriers and celebrating small wins.
I like that. It's about progress, not perfection.
Exactly.
Okay, now we've talked a lot about strategies
Yeah.
for working more effectively, but what about our mindset?
Yeah,
Does that play a role?
absolutely. Yeah. Darius Foro in Do It Today, he talks about cultivating an abundance mindset.
Okay. Abundance mindset.
Yes. It's about recognizing that there are always new opportunities and possibilities available to you.
Okay.
It's a shift away from the scarcity mentality that leads to competition and comparison.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's about focusing on what you have to offer,
Yeah,
not what you lack.
exactly. And it's about believing that there's enough success to go around.
Okay.
And an abundance mindset can be really powerful for fueling motivation and creativity.
Yeah. Because when you believe in the possibilities,
Mm-hmm.
then you're more likely to take risks,
Absolutely. Yeah.
pursue your passions.
Yeah.
Um,
You're not limited by the belief that there's only a limited amount of success available.
Right, exactly. Okay, now let's talk about tools. I'm curious to get your take on how we can choose the right tools.
Yeah,
Because there are so many out there.
there are.
It's overwhelming.
It can be. So Cal Newport suggests taking a craftsman approach to tool selection.
Okay.
So it's about being intentional and selective rather than just jumping on every new productivity bandwagon.
So it's not about having the fanciest app, but finding the one that works for you.
Exactly. And he suggests asking yourself a simple question when evaluating a tool. Does this tool help me support the key activities that allow me to achieve my professional goals? If the answer is no, then it might be time to ditch that tool, even if everyone else seems to be using it.
That's good advice. It's
Yeah.
about being the master of your tools.
Right. And it's about recognizing that the best tools are often the simplest ones.
Right.
Sometimes a simple pen and paper can be more effective than the most sophisticated productivity app.
Because ultimately, it's not about the tool itself.
Right.
It's how you use it.
Exactly. And speaking of using tools effectively, another important aspect of productivity is saying no.
Oh, yes.
It's about setting boundaries and protecting your time and energy.
That's so important.
Ye-
It's easy to get caught in that busy trap
Yes.
and feel like you have to say yes to everything.
Totally.
But sometimes the most productive thing you can do is say no.
Exactly. And to know when to say no, it's crucial to have a clear understanding of your priorities and values.
Yes.
What are the things that truly matter to you? What are you willing to sacrifice to achieve your goals? Once you have that clarity, it becomes easier to make those tough decisions.
Right. So it's not just about reacting
Yeah.
to every demand that comes your way.
Right. It's about taking control of your time and energy and directing them towards things that truly matter.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So we covered a lot of ground here.
Mm-hmm.
Deep work,
Yeah.
strategic laziness,
Mm-hmm.
finishing projects, abundance mindset,
Right.
the right tools, and even saying no. That's like a whole productivity masterclass.
It is, and I think the key takeaway is that productivity isn't about getting more things done. It's about doing the right things in a way that feels good and sustainable for you.
Totally. I was thinking the same thing. You know, all these books that we talked about, Cal Newport's Deep Work, Darius Foreau's Do It Today, C. Northcote Parkinson's The Art of Laziness, even John Acuff's Finish. They all kind of point to this idea of being intentional.
Absolutely, yeah. Intentionality with your time, your energy, the tools you use, even your mindset. It's about being the architect of your own work life.
Ooh, I like that. The architect of your own work life rather than just reacting to everything that comes your way.
Yeah.
So if someone's listening to this right now and they're feeling overwhelmed, where should they even begin?
I would say start small, pick one thing that resonated with you from this deep dive, and give it a try. Maybe set up a shutdown ritual or try the Pomodoro technique for focused work. Maybe it's finally finishing that project you've been putting off.
Yeah, or carving out a little time for some strategic laziness.
Exactly.
Give your brain a break.
Yeah,
Let it wander. Who knows what brilliant ideas will come up.
totally. The point is to experiment and find what works for you because there's no one-size-fits-all approach to productivity.
Right? It's all about creating a system that works for you,
Yeah.
your own goals, and being kind to yourself along the way.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Remember, productivity is a journey, not a destination.
Well, I don't know about you, but I am feeling super energized and inspired to level up my own productivity game. Thanks for taking this deep dive with me.
My pleasure. It's always a joy to explore these ideas.
And for those of you listening, we hope you got some valuable insights
Mm-hmm.
and maybe some practical tips to boost your own productivity. Until next time, happy diving.